War Eagle Auburn family, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy here on the Auburn sports, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Appreciate you joining us for another Wednesday night live call-in show. We're going to get to some of those call-ins tonight as we have time to do so. But we also tonight are going to have a very special guest join us. You know him, you love him. Mr. Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database. Clint, what is up?
I hope they like me.
He says, I hope they like me as he takes a sip of his drink. What's going on, buddy?
It's all good.
You had a big article come out this week, is from what I'm aware of.
I did. It's one of my favorite pieces of the year.
It is one of those things that I think I know you probably enjoyed. You wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, but I think it's probably one of those things that you also probably get a little anxiety about as well with the amount of submissions that you get.
Absolutely. So yeah, every year we run a series of concept uniforms, and there's a reason for that. It's, every summer is just dead for all these talking head shows like yourself, and they try to just fill it up with really bad, uneducated thoughts about uniforms.
So
Auburn does. Okay.
I'm kidding.
So this started just kind of as a tongue-in-cheek poke at those. I'm tired of seeing the same concept uniforms being thrown around every summer, and I invited some followers on Twitter, some Auburn fans, tell me what's the craziest Auburn football uniform you could ever imagine, and I'll bring it to life. And it was so much fun that we've done it. This is now the 7th iteration of that, and it's just a ton of fun. So there's 14 new designs that were chosen this season, and I had probably, I think, just over 50 people submit, or 50 ideas submitted by multiple people, and the cutting room floor is probably just as good as the ones that got picked. It's always a tough decision on which ones can't get chosen, and I hate telling some people no, but we had some good ones this year. These are, I think I say it every year, this is my favorite batch.
I think, honestly, if I've obviously read the article myself and checked out all the designs. I think last year's batch was a little bit more interesting, but this one has some higher, to me, obviously you do good work regardless, but higher quality concepts. We'll get into some of those in a second here, and I do want us to do that.
We kind of got a little bit away from the over the top crazy, because that's kind of the point. When you should see my Facebook page right now. When I tell people go look at these crazy concepts, they freak out, and it's easy to know who did and didn't read the article, because just let's be honest, if you click on this link and you see these designs, nobody wants these to be on the field. Nobody wants these to come to life. And if you can't understand that, you either didn't read it or you have a terrible sense of humor. So, it's supposed to be super obvious when you look at these, but there are still some aspects in here that, these uniforms are designed in a sense that in an alternate reality that they probably would be worn. If these were to be made into a uniform, these are kind of what they would look like. And some of them might work. Maybe not for Auburn, but some of these looks might work for somebody on the football field or basketball court or baseball field, or heck, even the soccer pitch at some point for somebody. And they're just a lot of fun to work on. They really push my creativity.
You're still hesitant to get into the gymnastics leotard game, aren't you? We've addressed this before. We've addressed this. It's awkward. It's also rhinestones.
It's not that it's well. The leotards themselves are not awkward. It's recreating them that is just difficult. And we last year 2 years ago, I turned a gymnastics leotard into a baseball uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something similar in this year's section, but and it's just a pain. They're very difficult to recreate and to draw, and I don't, I jump between Photoshop and Illustrator for specific reasons, and if I were to do gymnastics leotards, it would be so much more. It'd be jumping a lot.
All right. Well, here's what I want to do. This is going to be the game plan for this evening. Clint's got a lot he wants to share from this article. We're not going to share everything. You got to go check out his stuff. I want you to go to the website and do that. We're also going to do a little bit of show and tell if we have time for that. But I promise we will get to some of you all's call-ins as well. We're going to take those a little bit later in the show. So if you are waiting for that, I see a bunch of people already asking for that in the chat. That is coming up. Just ask that you be a little bit patient for it. In the meantime, however, if you haven't, please do make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already to help the stream out and let somebody know on social media that you're live and that they can join us here. Let's say hello to a couple people we've got in the house. True Auburn champion, Justin Keith, Michael Trott, Thomas Manville, Corey Benson, Auburn Elvis. He says that Clint, this guy isn't Clint. I guess he was talking about when it was just me.
There I am.
Hey, look at there, Clint, the first Ward Dustbuster of the entire.
Have you sold any shirts?
Nobody's taken me up on the shirt offer yet. Somebody said they was going to, but I kind of knew that was kind of like, well, it sounds good in principle. When you go over there and you're like, I'm actually about to buy a T-shirt that was supposed to be a very inappropriate reference. But listen, y'all asked for it. So it's up there on the TeePublic site. So if you want that, go get it. I'm not going to judge you if you do. I'll thank you if you do. Let's see. I think we're about good saying hello to everybody. Spooky Buffalo's in the house from Iowa. Casey's here. Good to see you, Casey. Got a lot of questions and comments coming in already. And Neil, my good friend from East Cobb, is here. He and I are both in the same region. We don't know exactly where we are in each other's vicinity, but we know we're like within 30 minutes of each other. East Cobb,
right in your backyard.
East Cobb snobs are what we're called, Clint, because we're highfalutin up here.
I can't speak to Neil, but that's absolutely you.
I am not highfalutin whatsoever.
I've seen your house. You certainly are.
Well, you're looking at with some interesting set of eyes. All right. Well, we'll try to stay up to date and chat with what's going on as you guys are kind of hanging out with us tonight. But that's going to be the agenda. We're going to talk about this article, let you see some of the concepts. We want to hear your opinions about them as well. And then we'll do some show and tell and then some call in and we'll just talk about whatever. So Clint, why don't we, I guess if you're ready, I can bring it up on the screen for you. Are you ready for that? All right. I'm adding to the screen now. You can see Clint's website, front page, and I'll let him take it from there.
So yeah, we're not going to show all of them like Kyle said, but go visit auburnuniforms.com. It's the first story on the top of the page, and you can check out all 14 of these for yourself. And so let's see, Kyle, which one do you want to start with?
You got to start with the one that's on the front cover. That's my favorite of the year.
This one right here?
Yes.
All right, let's see if I can find it real quick.
It is the highest quality and the most creative in my opinion. This year.
All of these designs are submitted by fans and my followers. And so Jordan right here said, what about the cheerleader rugby uniforms? And man, these are the best. These are always saved for the Iron Bowl. And I think they've been worn every Iron Bowl since 84, 85. So I was like, yeah, we're absolutely going to do that. And we did that for baseball about 2 or 3 years ago. And I think it turned out quite nicely. But I mean, just look at this thing. Look at this beauty. Let's zoom out just a little bit.
And listen, again, I am a traditionalist. You know this, Clint, but just reminding everybody watching that I am someone that is one of these, I don't like change. I like things to stay the same. And I understand that this is for fun. And most of these designs sometimes make me twitch just a little bit. This is the first one I saw in a long time and loved instantly.
Really? Okay.
I loved it.
Okay. So if you go and you read the website, I'm not going to read these things verbatim, but there's a good bit of text with each photo that kind of describes how I decided to incorporate all of these design elements. So if you're looking at the cheerleader uniforms, there's actually a slight difference between the men and the women's shirts. The men actually have a white collar, and the women have a script Auburn on the side. So I was like, we're just going to run with that. White collar on the football jersey, the script Auburn from baseball is going to don the helmet and the front of the jersey. Just to add a little bit of color to it, we added the orange stripe to the pants. I think the men usually wear just plain blue pants, but I was really struggling on what to do with the helmet. I thought maybe we should just paint them right down the middle, just an orange, blue, orange stripe down the middle. But then this idea came to mind. I was like, this is what we have to do. We have to have a pinstriped or more of a barber pole striped helmet to go with this look. And I love this look. So, something we started doing a couple of years ago was actually, you'll get the mock up like this on a flat 2D image, but then we're also going to throw in a 3D, real life per se design and show how it would look on the player as well. And I think you're right, Kyle. I do like this one a lot.
It is the one that I think the thing that makes it okay for me as a traditionalist is because it's a tradition. It is something that is part of our history. It's something that's very important. It's something that's unique to Auburn, and you incorporated it into the uniform. So that I think that's what makes me have a piece about it. And so for the first time, I looked at your article, not with anticipation of worrying, but like I looked at this thing and I was like, wow. I actually love the heck out of this thing, and I would not mind seeing them run out. And I'm saying it here live on camera. Kyle Loomis, the traditionalist, is fine if the Auburn Tigers run out in this.
Wow.
That's it.
I'm really glad you said that because I really struggled on which image to use as the featured cover photo, and which one was going to be kind of the face of this article. But I think now that you say that, I think I might have gone with the right choice.
I think you did, honestly, because I think that draws people in. Most people are going to associate it with the rugby shirts and the outfit that the cheerleaders are wearing. So that's going to draw in people like me who are traditionalists and at least say, well, he at least did something that's got some history behind it. So, I'm not as adamant about my hatred of change, but it still makes me twitch just a little bit. But it looks like you got a lot of people liking this one. Spooky likes it. Michael says it looks like a good pattern for a long sleeve shirt for the fans.
Actually, I've been searching for some rugby shirts online just because people are always asking, and found out that the Auburn bookstore actually does have a couple. So you can go to their website and buy some.
You can see right here, Neil says, I see it now. He says, I imagine that pattern would give everyone a seizure. It does kind of like if you stare at it too long, it's kind of one of those things where it kind of
vibrating.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
I think maybe so. Again, I tried to really make this very similar to what the cheerleaders wore. So most of the guys wear like 7 or 8 stripes from top of the shoulders to the bottom of the shirt. Mm-hmm. So I tried to incorporate that here as well. You could probably make those stripes a little bit larger and avoid that vibrating sensation.
Yeah, a little bit there. So we got a suggestion right here from Jack. Alternate jersey would be navy with an old school helmet, all navy with an old school helmet with an orange circle with white numbers on the inside. Have you ever had anything like that before?
I have not. That's an interesting look. I might need Jack come back next year. Let's submit that one. Let's add that to the 8th crazy concepts look.
Well, I'm sure you've got a well of just just options to go from now.
I don't save them. I have a spreadsheet for this year's just so that I could keep track of it all, but I don't go back and pull from them. I let at times like this year, I was like, I'm gonna have to send some people some messages and tell them to resubmit what they did last year because I really wanted to do it and it just got left. But I don't do that. These are brand new submissions every single year.
Part of me hates that you just get rid of them, but I think it's good to wipe the slate clean and just say fresh start. We're just going to do it all. It's a new year. It's a new suggestion box. There you go. Let's see. Tiger stripe uniform. You've done that one before, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Really?
So, this jersey has tiger stripes on it, but you can't see it. Another thing that I like to do with these is keep them unique. Again, if you go and find, if you just search Auburn uniform concepts,
Mhm.
you're going to find a lot of poorly photoshopped, poor quality, cliched designs, and they're full of eagle wings, they're full of tiger stripes, they're full of random logos that don't look good on a helmet and all that kind of stuff. So um, I try to avoid any of those kind of cliche design tropes and make every single one of these looks rather unique.
Mm-hmm. It's a good comment right here. Oh, I think I brought the. Let me bring the right one up here. Back in the day, the Steelers had a jersey like that, looked like a bunch of bumblebees on the field. Do you remember that?
Yep.
That actually is very accurate.
Yeah, so they actually, I did think about that when I made this, and almost didn't pick this suggestion because a couple of years ago, one of the design suggestions was the Steelers Bumblebee throwback uniforms because they had brought them back and were wearing them for a couple of years, and um, I think that that's kind of why I went with the striped helmet as well, and of course the Steelers look had like squared, more rectangular boxes that housed the numbers, which I think was a really interesting look. Nobody really likes the bumblebee look, but I think that I really do like it. It's so unique that that's one of my favorite uniforms in the NFL.
There are a lot worse alternate uniforms that actually exist. Not even just your little concept project here, but the ones that
There
exist
are,
out there. There are some
there are.
terrible ones. Let's try to do 3 here, if that's okay with you. I don't think that gives away too many of your things, but if you've got a second and a third one, maybe you want to show, that will kind of give people a good perspective of how wide ranging this all
Let's
is.
do a basketball one.
I love it.
All right, so this is my guy Paxton. If you've followed the NBA at all over the last year or two, you know that one of the most popular uniforms in the league right now is the Phoenix Suns uniform that just says the Valley across it. It's a black uniform that has kind of a radio gradient design across the front, and it's so colorful and it's such a pretty look. So Paxton wanted to see that turned into an Auburn uniform, but instead of saying the Valley, it says the Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So we ran with it, and this is what you get.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
And again, that's big props to Phoenix for what they were able to design. Like, I wish that I could have done a little bit more to make it Auburnized a little bit more. I changed it from a purple to a blue. Of course, they use a lot of black and a lot of purple, so I tried to tone that back a little bit, and that's why it's kind of a dark charcoal gray instead. It's still purplish, but tried to make it a little bit more blue, more indigo than purple. And if you take a look at the shorts right here, you'll see one little detail that does not get shown very often, or at least in a long time. This little basketball here on the shorts,
Mm-hmm.
it's a shooting basketball, much like the Phoenix logo is, and that was a design that was worn during the Joe Champy era for the women's basketball team. So that was a cool little detail to incorporate for the men's team. And so, of course, the guy who goes to Cleveland has to be the perfect model for it. And I think it just looks really, really good on Isaac Okoro right here.
It does. It actually fits very nice on him. Elvis has a good suggestion for that design. Instead of the big hill on the left, you could reshape it for a Sanford Hall.
I thought about it. I tried to. And again, that's kind of where my design fell through a little bit in terms of this one. And there's a couple of other ones on here that kind of fell into the same boat where they weren't Auburn enough. And I absolutely wanted to do that. And just didn't really have the best idea on how to incorporate it and how to do it well.
Well, I think the 2 that you've shown so far, obviously this one has the least amount of Auburn in it, but taking an element of something that is Auburn and making it fit there. And, like you said, you may even want to make improvements on it. later on in the future, if you get on a wild hair and just decide that you've got no time, which, or you got some extra time, because I know you're such a busy dude. But maybe, we'll see. What's the third one you got?
Let's do baseball.
I figured you were going to go to a different sport. I didn't want to prompt you to go baseball, but I would be shocked if you didn't.
Yeah. So let's go baseball. Don't look at that one. So my buddy Avery, if you've been on the internet at all, if you've been around the Auburn Uniform Database stuff, Avery and I do a lot of work together. He's helped me out with a few things. He helped me out big time with another design in this series, but we went with Mama Goldberg's. Kyle, you're a big Mama's fan, aren't you?
You cannot not have your mama's love.
I'm glad you said that, because
I'm hungry now again, and I just ate dinner.
Here's your mama's love.
Oh, so good. Can I just take a second here? I know this is like only slightly related to what we're talking about here, but my goodness, so many good sandwiches at Mama Goldberg's. I used to be a Turkey Delight dude, and
Mama's love, bro.
And then I finally just said, you know what? I got to have the signature sandwich, and I can't go back. Like every time I go to the counter and I say, no, I'm getting a Turkey Delight again. And I can't, because I know Mama's love is sitting across that counter waiting for me. And I'll cry myself to sleep at night if I don't have Mama's love from Mama Goldberg.
Oh,
sorry, rant over. But anyway.
So again, if you've been paying attention to the minor league baseball leagues, teams just love to dress up in alternate realities and just the comment kind of threw me off.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just throwing comments up here for people.
but these teams love to dress up as food. The Fresno Grizzlies dressed up as the Tacos a couple of years ago, and I think they were kind of one of the first ones to start this. The Savannah, Georgia team has completely rebranded themselves to the Savannah Bananas.
Yep, I heard about this.
Oh my! They have a lot of fun out at Savannah. I want to go to a game, but it's like, so we're just going to turn mamas, and we're going to go all out on that minor league aspect of it. And so you've got your sandwich right there on the hat. You've got the sandwich on the sleeve. The jersey kind of represents the nachos. And if you look really close, there is a sublimated little pattern, kind of ghosted pattern of the texture of the Dorito. And then my favorite are the pants and the stirrups with the dripping melted cheese. And,
it's slightly disgusting, if I'm honest, but
well, so nobody got to see their designs early. Everybody had to wait until Monday when this thing was released. And so Avery texted me Monday after it was out and said, "That's perfect. I wish you could have incorporated like the overly saturated soggy bun a little bit more." I said, "Well, if I'm being honest, let's incorporate some Nike speak into this," and threw out some jargon of, after a hard game's fight, the players are soaked in sweat to resemble the soggy bread that Mama's hands out.
You're slightly making this not as appetizing to me anymore. Thank you.
So, and then it just looks so good. I loved. Couldn't really find a good. Don't show that one.
It's a secret one.
Couldn't really find a good photo of this past year's baseball team that had, the full uniform shown and the ball cap. So Kason Howell right here, of course, being probably my favorite player on the team right now, just because he sports stirrups every game. But I had to rock it with the batting helmet, and of course with he and Gabe right there, it just made for some really good sock drippage.
Thank you for that. That's now I'm not hungry anymore. I know. Isn't it impressive? Like all the marketing verbiage, and he's just been dropping word bombs on us there in this thing. Sublimation, like that when that came out of his mouth. that was slightly disgusting, but yet slightly impressive as well. Do Bo with a Milo's jersey and Photoshop the ball as a gallon jug. That would be.
Oh, if Milo's were to pay me, I would.
I know we already gave away some free advertising tonight, apparently to Mama Goldberg's. But hey,
that one was not sponsored by Mamas, and it should have been.
It's not, but hey, we'll throw out some love to the Mama's love every once in a while. All right, so where is just give them the easiest way to go check out this article if they want to go read the whole thing in full?
Go check out auburnuniforms.com, and it is right there on the home page. And let's see if it'll load real quick. Again, there's 14 designs right there. There's kind of a family photo at the bottom that has all of them included, and you can even search the website and find the previous 6 rounds of fan-submitted crazy concept uniforms.
And it is crazy, to say the least. It is quite interesting, and every year I look forward to this for just anticipation of what horrendous things I'm going to see. But every year, I'll be honest, every year there's at least one I walk away and I was like, okay, that wasn't the worst thing in the world. And this is the first time this year that the rugby one really was, hey, I love this. And if we were going to do anything alternate, sign me up that incorporates old school tradition with it.
Well, before we close off with this one, let me at least pull up the baseball version of that too and see if your mind changes at all.
I think is it in the article or is it?
It was a couple of years ago.
I think I remember that one very slightly.
I'm gonna have
you want me to pull that down while you go find it?
Let's see. Let's share. Yeah, there we go. Let me share this window for you.
Let's see. I have a request. I'm looking at some comments down here.
All right. Pull me up, Kyle.
Beam me up, Scotty. There you go. Okay.
How does that compare?
I don't like it as much, but it's still not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. That's the best thing I can say. I don't know what it is. I just think it looks better on the football jersey. I think
does Will Holland wear it well?
I mean, in defense, Will looks good in anything. I would imagine because he's an awesome dude. He's an awesome player for us. So I mean, just I can appreciate Will Holland making anything look good there.
I like it. So, all right, that's this round. They're all fun. I like.
They are all fun. And
tell me what are your favorites?
Yes, so you guys can comment right now, but also what I'm going to do, and we're gonna change the order up a little bit because I noticed a lot of you may be itching to call in. At least you were saying you were. We'll see if that amounts to it. Right now, I'm going to open up the call-in line. I'm posting right now in the chat window the call-in link that you can click. It says call in. There's a link right there. When you call in, all you have to do is click on that, and then you can choose, I think, to have your video on or off. It doesn't really matter to us as long as we can hear you. We do ask that you keep it family friendly and behave yourself. No more war dustbusters. We've had enough of that for a lifetime. But the phone lines are open if you want to call in and talk about anything. Honestly, we can talk about the article, and then if we have some time left at the end, we'll get a little show and tell in with what Clint's got for us today. The real question is from Elvis. For Clint, this year's soccer jersey seems close to it, but better than past designs. What did they change that made it better this season?
So, a lot. And Elvis, I'll give you the short answer. Read the website in a couple of weeks. Hopefully next week. Still waiting on a few more pictures. Still don't really have a full look at the entire uniform, but we're close. I hope I can publish that article real soon and get that out there. But for those who don't know, yesterday was media day for Auburn soccer. So the players got to take photos in their new jerseys this year, or yesterday for the first time. And these jerseys are so new that the majority of the team was wearing numberless jerseys, and they hadn't been numbered up yet. So this is, I think, the 4th iteration of this design with the Northwestern stripe sash stripe, which if you're a big soccer fan, you know that sashes are a really popular soccer design. And I think Auburn utilizing the Northwestern stripes is just the perfect usage of that. But last year, the stripe stopped at the belly button, so it didn't come up to the shoulder, which was just gross.
It was odd.
Work. It was bad. I think, you know, the best thing of these new uniforms to me is the new collar design and the sleeve cuff design, where it's not just a blue field. It's not just an all blue collar or sleeve. There's a tiny little orange stripe that follows it, and it's such a good little design. It's so small, but it just is perfect. And you know, if you look at the last year's uniforms, the white jerseys had just an orange collar, and it felt so out of place. So the color balance being better is such a positive. So, you know, the article coming up will have all that detailed, and as always, there will be a side-by-side graphic that shows you every tiny little detail that has changed from last year to this year. And this one might even have 4 side-by-sides, so that we go through the entire history of this design choice.
Belly button option and all.
Belly button option and all.
All right, let's switch topics real quick. This is from Jack. The East, who wins it? He says Mizzou. Clint, do you have any opinions on who wins the East in football for the SEC this year?
No.
Well, I think even if you weren't informed on it, even if you think you're informed on the East, as it is every single year, it just is kind of a toss-up at this point. I mean, I feel like, you know, the easy answer is to say either Georgia or Florida. You know, Florida lost Trask, right? That's correct. He's gone now.
Yes.
And then Georgia, who knows who Georgia has at this point, because they can't seem to keep their players from coming to Auburn, as we just found out that their star wide receiver jumped ship over here. Not the first time it's happened.
Hope he does well.
You know, the last 2 times that worked out pretty well. Trey Matthews and Nick Marshall.
I still, who the other one was.
I still, to this day, Clint, will fight anyone tooth and nail who tries to argue with me that Nick Marshall is not the most underappreciated football player ever for Auburn. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think so.
Can you tell me someone else who is more underappreciated? I don't think so. Nick Marshall, I would argue, is more important to that team. Oh no, that's getting out there. I was about to say something I was going to get in trouble for. I drew it back. That's called understanding your audience and pulling it back in before you get yourself in trouble.
I see where you were going with that one, though, and I think
it was a wise choice.
No, I think you're right. I think that Nick was totally the MVP of that team. Without him, that team does not do what they did. And of course, you can say that about a lot of teams in a lot of moments. If Auburn doesn't miraculously pull out those 2 wins at the end of the year, nothing of that happens. But Nick Marshall gave me heart attacks too.
Let's be honest. Softball gives you heart attacks. Let's be honest.
Proof of that. Every sport does. Yeah, no, I could. I think if you were to go far enough back in history, you could probably figure out some similar guys. I don't know 20s and 30s players well enough to say, but no, I agree. I like Nick in that category.
Yeah, Nick is. It's the one sign ball. You know, I thought a lot of times, should I like downgrade my collection I have up here? But I will never get rid of my Nick Marshall ball because it's the most unique one I have. It's just a really cool design, the ball itself. But then to get his, you know, autograph on that when nobody. I mean, he was coming in expecting to be the guy to take over. Most people were thinking, but just to see the way it turned out for him, that was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
This sounds like a familiar name. 5th string running back Chandler Shakespeare. He never lost a game in which he saw the field. That's fair. I do remember Chandler Shakespeare. Wasn't he the guy that ran for almost like 100 yards in 1 quarter because they just kept running him? Was that him or was that another player?
I don't remember.
It was like a recent.
I know the name, but that's all.
That sounds right to me because I remember there was like a rinky-dink game where he came in the fourth quarter and literally all we did was run him the entire, and he almost went the whole field himself and like just came just shy of scoring a touchdown. It was the most like exhilarating thing ever, but also the most sad thing ever to work so hard and like he's so exhausted he can't even get in the end zone.
It's the most Auburn thing ever.
Yes, it is. If we had a defense during the Nick Marshall era, we probably would have won a national championship. If we had a special teams, that we would have a special teams coverage.
Everybody likes to talk about the was it Kelvin Benjamin catching that touchdown?
Yes,
over Chris Davis. I still have nightmares watching the final kickoff return, where FSU kicked off. Trey Mason returns it.
If he had cut left,
the middle. That's right. The left was wide open.
If he had cut left, he's gone for days.
He's got 40 more yards at the very least.
Let me just say this. I think he actually would have caught Chris Davis, who's still running to this day, and Alabama still hasn't caught him. I think Trey Mason would have been more open than Chris Davis would have been. Yes. I wake up in a cold sweat at night and just like, cut left. No!
Yes. No, nobody likes to talk about that play. They always like to talk about the play before. But that's the more egregious play in my mind.
Yeah.
Kelvin Benjamin was a dang good athlete, and Chris Davis was a small corner. That play is not egregious. That's a football play. FSU lined up better. They matched up better. They won that fight.
It is. And you got it.
The next play is what drives me nuts.
Yes. Because that was under our control, and look, we are not going to sit here and fault Trey Mason he made the cut that he thought would give him the best opportunity to score. And he has a better line of sight than it's hindsight's 2020 for us. And we were sitting back here on our couches watching. So we wouldn't have been in that position if he doesn't run all over Mizzou, if he doesn't have the year that he has. So one mistake doesn't define a career, but it was still disappointing. Neil is talking about a little pattern here that's been discussed in the chat about UGA and their glorious Heisman quarterbacks they always bring in. Do you remember Jamie Newman and how he was supposed to be the one last year for exactly. I remember.
And you wonder why I don't get into the prediction game and the high hopes and all that pressure, because stuff like that, I don't care for that. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. I ate my crow in 6th grade, 7th grade, and I haven't even tried to build anymore.
Here's another Georgia name, Stetson Bennett. I remember that one. That
is the worst football player name.
Yes. Stetson.
That is a
Bennett.
Terrible football player name.
It is awful.
Let's have that on the back of your jersey.
Yeah. Let's see. Shakespeare would only get into the game when Auburn was winning by 40 points. He was a human victory formation. That is sometimes the best thing that you can be, because there's no pressure, right? Because if you're coming into the game, it's like, just have fun. Just go for it. That's when I played football. You wouldn't look at me and think it, but that's what I was the kicker. Okay. I was 100% on my kicks, 1 for 1. And I was like a backup wide receiver, defensive back, and it didn't end up well for me. But who knows? We might have lost Clint a little bit here on. I think I hear him in the background, but he is frozen. There he is. He's back. You were frozen for just a second there, buddy.
Yep.
I thought you were frozen in shock.
Did you at least see my plays football?
Nope. This is what I saw, and I thought that was your reaction to me playing football.
No. I was like, you play football as a kicker.
I'll bring up a topic while we wait to see if anybody, again, I'll post it in there if you want to call in. The link is in the chat right now. You can call in or I guess technically click in if you want to on video or not. Media Days is coming up. That's usually the kickoff for like the football season, at least kind of getting geared up. Bo Nix and Owen Pepo are your representatives along with Coach Harsin. I'll be honest, it's a little weird knowing those players are not going with Coach Malzahn. It's a little hard for me. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a little weird that they're not seniors.
Yeah, and think about it this way. Technically, they would be seniors, right? This year. No, Bo would have been a junior, but technically, isn't he still a sophomore since everybody gets an extra year of eligibility?
He's I you have to accept that, I believe.
Yeah.
So Bo is probably listed as a junior. He might be able to reclassify at some point. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but
All right, we got people talking about my kicking career in here. Kyle should be the kicker during the Bama game. We would win, and you would be. Kyle's kicking career rivals Dylan Cardwell's 3-point record. Listen, though, I am pretty sure I can make the claim that I am the only kicker in my high school's history that was 100%.
all 12 of you in that school?
Listen, we had enough to field a team. That's all that matters. They've gotten big. That's what I'm saying. There was one substitute. No, we had
I think kicker on the sideline.
Yes, probably. No, I think we had about 48, 50 players on the team, so it wasn't terrible. But most
Kyle,
of those people.
How long's it been? Has it been? Are you coming up on your 20th anniversary
of my high school? Yeah. That hurt to think about.
Don't worry, your hairline says 20th anniversary.
Wow, and there it is. And goodbye to Clint forever and always. Neil says he's starting to get nervous about the season. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think you should be nervous. I'm not saying that we're going to have a bad season, but I think it's important for you to go in to a brand new season with a lot of change and a lot of transition, and to not expect there to be a few bumps in the road, I think is a even more optimistic than me. Are you nervous, Clint?
No. I'll tell you what I told some other friends the other day. They were complaining about how they don't have the excitement for football this year just yet, like they usually do.
Yeah.
And my response was, over the last couple of years, I have not even cared until the week of. It doesn't hit me until then, and I don't care. And part of that is because I am neck deep in every other sport: football, basketball, baseball, soccer, softball. So until about right now, until the end of June, till maybe mid-June, there's still sports going on. There's still Auburn sports going on.
Yeah.
And especially this year with the Olympics. So like this right now, this period between the College World Series and the Olympics is heavenly right now. This is my vacation. I am mentally just exited from sports. And as much as I love sports, and as much as I can't wait for them to come back, I'm really enjoying this downtime right now, and not wishing away that time waiting on football season to come.
I had like a 2-week period just this past week where I was just like out of it, covering things and being real on top of everything. And so now I'm back in the grind again because I know we're getting close to media days and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. Like stepping away from it is nice. Here's the trouble. Like you said, this is a year where there's really not too much for break. Olympics you brought up, but I'm surprised you didn't bring up the basketball tournament with the Auburn team, basically, that's about to play this weekend. Did you forget about that?
No, I honestly just don't care. I'm sorry.
You don't care that Bryce Brown, that Deshaun Murray, that LaRon Smith, all of these guys are back together and playing once again. You're hurting my heart, Clint.
Not really.
As many years as we did inside the jungle together. This is why I kicked you off the show.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love those guys, and I hope they do well. I didn't care last year. I don't care this year. My wife and I were at Firehouse, I think 2 years ago, and they had ESPN on. I was like, what the heck is this? And it's just called the tournament. So good luck Googling that. And
the basketball tournament, technically. Excuse me. Let me correct you.
No, it's just the tournament.
Oh, yeah. On social media. Yes, it is the tournament.
And I was like, what in the world is this? Couldn't figure it out. I thought it was kind of cool that, like, I think it was Boeheim's Army won the thing, and they were all Syracuse players. It's cool.
If they will go the route of making it exclusively like you put a team together of all former players, which a lot of them are starting to do. They saw last year with the way Auburn fans flocked to War Tampa at the time, now War Ready. And now, aside from one player, Isaiah Williams, it's all Auburn players. And then you, like you said, you got like Syracuse, you've got Marquette, you've got, I think, another team. I thought there was another team from New York.
Well, and that was honestly kind of the thing that kind of annoyed me. And again, I'm not into this enough to be upset about it, but I saw the team tweet out their roster. They're like, we are a entirely Auburn team. I was like, who the heck is this kid? I've never heard of this guy a day in my life. Like,
that's like that meme. Who's this guy right here? You know?
And I was like, you can't claim that we are entirely Auburn when the assistant coach is just a random dude, and this random bench player is just a random dude. Like, I'm happy that Frankie Sullivan is included. He's done really well coaching high school basketball up in North Alabama, and all these guys coming back is really cool. It seems like a farewell tour, and it doesn't interest me. You know,
you're breaking my heart a little bit. That's all right. I'll let it go.
And there's also a little annoyance in the fact that, like, there's just no branding into it. Like, they changed their name immediately when they had like 2 Auburn guys on it.
Right.
Like, we're going to be the Auburn team. And then they changed their name. And then the uniforms they wore last year were straight ripoffs of what the actual Auburn men's basketball team was wearing. I was like, now
we found the rub for Clint was the ripoff of the Auburn jersey. That's what did him in, and that's why he is the way he is towards it. Anyway, I'm excited for it because I'm excited to see all these players, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on a future live stream. Let's bounce around a couple of comments before we do some show and tell with Clint. Auburn Elvis, will Carlson win the Grosso Award? Will Tank win the Doak Walker Award? Here's the bigger question for me is, will Auburn get snubbed again at kicker or punter in an award?
I think that is the biggest travesty that is not being discussed.
Punter is where we got gypped at Ray Guy Award.
I'm gypped at all of them. How Stephen Clark and Daniel Carlson did not win an award is beyond me.
I think the Ray Guy one was televised the second year that I think Stephen was there, and I think I saw his face, and you could, like, it's one of those moments like you see at the Emmys or something like that where they start having to clap for the other guy, and they're like, "Really, you didn't give this to me?" And I'm like, "Poor Stephen, he has to sit there and take this. He was clearly the better punter."
Again, and it's so frustrating because they'll show the stats, and it's like the guy who beat Steven both seasons was not, he didn't have as good stats. You know, Steven was, and I'm biased. I know Steven personally quite well, but it's like, this isn't even a fight. Like, Steven should have won those. I think Tank is going to be really, really good this year. He's got a lot of hype for being one of the best running backs in the league. I hope in the country.
All right, I'm going to get a prediction out of you. I'm getting a predict. Will Tank Bigsby not win the Heisman? Will Tank Bigsby, because they can have up to 5, I think, there. Will he be one of the at least 5 in New York for the Heisman ceremony?
Do you remember my bold prediction a couple of years ago?
Where you predicted that
I said Daniel Carlson will be in New York City as a Heisman finalist.
A little bit of a stretch.
No, I'm not answering that.
Oh, come on. That's an easy walk in the park. He's one of the best, if not the best, returning running back. To say that he would end up in New York is not going to be a far stretch.
I mean, that means he could have. They only invite between 3 and 5, so he could be 4 or 5, and only 3 get invited. So
that's true. I think he'll be there regardless. Real quick, we
got to talk about one more thing under this comment.
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah.
Just
Have
saw
you seen this?
The Jacob Hood graphic with Joe Burrow's Heisman. I cannot handle this kind of cringe. No, I hadn't seen this. Was it bad?
Yeah, so all of these athletic departments send out recruiting images to these players and try to convince them to come. So um, Jacob Hood posted a photo that he received from Auburn, and he's standing, arms crossed in his Auburn football uniform, and they photoshopped him standing next to a Heisman Trophy on a stand. And I think it said like Heisman Hood under it, or Hood Heisman, or something like that underneath it. But if you zoomed in, the plaque on the trophy said Joe Burrow. It wasn't blurred. It was a little pixelated just because it was a small image. But it's like, you've got 3 trophies in house
And you chose the
that
Joe
you could have
Burrows.
used. You could have edited the plaque to the kid's name, and so Auburn's getting kind of blasted for that one right now.
That one, that just makes me cringe right there. All right, let's do this because I do want to do some show and tell before we get out of here. Let's share all the stuff for people to go check out. For us here at E2C Network, please do make sure you smash the like button on this if you haven't already, if you enjoy this type of content. Subscribe, notification bell, you know the drill. Also, check out some of the links down there, ways to support the content we have here. You can do that by joining the Booster Club. $1 a month is all it takes to do that and help support what we do here, but also get some pretty cool perks to go along with that. Clint, what would you like to share again? Article stuff, ways to support you, what you got out there?
You can check out the article that has 14 brand new, overly crazy concept uniforms at Auburn Uniforms.
Slightly tame this year. Slightly tame.
Slightly tamer. At auburnuniforms.com. You can check out everything else on the website there and just enjoy yourself, explore the website. You can follow me on Twitter at ClintAU24, and you can follow the Auburn Uniform Database on Instagram and Facebook at Auburn Uniforms for even more uniform-related content.
Awesome. All right. Show and tell. We put it off long enough. What you got?
I think you'll like these. So I only have 4 items, but they are the newest additions to the collection.
Mm-hmm. McCaleb, yes. I love that.
So you got you in Ontario, and these things, this is the Nick Marshall era uniform with the shorter stripes and everything.
Yep.
These things are freaking tight.
It looks like I'm looking at you like normally when you hold a jersey, it's got a little give to it, but you're actually like just kind of holding it as is and it's already tight. Look how stiff that is.
It's super stiff. So this thing is a size 44, which is like a medium, and it's tight. And what's really cool is
put some starch on that thing.
I haven't photo matched it, so I don't know exactly when it's from, but it still has all the
grass. Yeah, is it like grass or is it like turf?
There's a little bit of grass. There's a little bit of paint, like that's red right there.
Yeah.
And then all this right here by the numbers are stitches and black, and which might be a little bit of like turf turds and stuff. And then there's another grass stain. But yeah, these, Ontario was so small that he made this jersey look big.
He did. Elvis took the words right out of my mouth. And yet
that one right. So this one came with a pair of pants. So they're not number matching by any means. So these are from 2013. There's no number on it, unfortunately, but it actually has a blue belt, which if you pay attention like I do, since 2015, they've worn white belts.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was fun. And it is the old pants. So this is the 2013 pants, which had the truncated stripe on it. And again, these still have some scuff marks on it.
Quick question. Blue or white belt for you?
I like the blue.
I kind of like the blue ones too, to be honest with you.
So this other set that I have, these are from 2017. This has a number 95 on it. But these are the new pants. with the white belt and the full pant stripe.
You're right. The blue belt looks so much better.
Yeah.
Jack wants to see if you can get a hold of a Stidham jersey. Any options there? I got a Jarrett Stidham signed ball. Does that count?
So those pants with the white belt, those came with another set. A CJ.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one to have in your collection.
So, CJ is still playing for the Bengals, and this one is, I think, a 48. Yeah, this is a 48, so it's much bigger, but you can still see how stiff it is. And
I mean, it's literally like you covered that in starch and just and you're not even. It looks like it's got a hanger in it, but it doesn't.
Yeah. This one still has a couple of marks on it as well. The number has a couple of marks, a couple of scuffs. Here we go. Here's the shoulder has some white scuffs on it. I can get that to show well. There you go.
Yeah, I can see
it. Yeah, these are two really, really nice additions to the collection. And like, you guys are getting a sneak peek. I haven't even added this to the website, so nobody else
exclusive
is publicly.
Exclusive on E2C Network Live. I love it.
Yep.
So Michael says while you're getting that one, he's got a Joe Cribb signed jersey that you might like. That's a good one.
Yeah, Michael, if you're on Twitter, send that one to me at ClintAU24, and I'd love to see that. So no, I can't get a Stidham jersey. Those are hard to find. He probably has them, but if you're interested, you can buy a Cam Newton jersey right now on eBay, and they've been. I actually got outbid the other day.
You're doing a lot of bidding these days, aren't you?
I am. I got outbid. My max bid was $50, and I got surpassed. No surprise there. But I can tell you confidently right now, it is not a Cam Newton game worn jersey.
Just by the little details that stick out to you
right now. And it's funny because the guy has documentation to go with it, and they're just printouts from old eBay listings. It's like, I bought this jersey from a guy who sold Chris Davis's football helmet from 2013. Okay. That doesn't verify the jersey.
Right. It's not even related to that.
No. And I can tell you for a fact that Cam has his 2 jerseys. So, like, no, you don't have it. It could be an Aaron Savage jersey. That's possible.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Right? 6-year senior in 2010.
Yes.
It's possible. I also have a blank jersey myself that I've been waiting to get numbered up, and it was originally, I think, a 66, and I wanted it as a 99 just to go with my other jerseys I have.
So Mike's got the all the history stuff. He's got the Joe Cribbs and Terry Beasley, or at least access to it.
Yeah, please send me all of those. I'd love to see them.
All right, you got anything else rapid fire here at the end, or are we cleaned out?
I think that's it. I don't have any other jerseys with me in Jacksonville right now.
Well, all right. Well, guys,
I'll have to make a swap for a couple of items next time I go back to Auburn.
Well, we appreciate Clint hopping on here with us on Wednesday night and monopolizing our call-in show a little bit, but it's always good to see you and to do show and tell and to talk about your new design article. Again, auburnuniforms.com is where you want to go. Check all that out. You can also follow him on Twitter. It's probably the best place to follow him, but he's also on all the social medias and Instagram as well. Out there, go check out the new article, and I think you will not be disappointed from all of the interesting and somewhat tame designs, especially that last one at the bottom of the article. I found very interesting. I was like, a little self-indulgent there.
That's my favorite. Yeah, go share it to your friends and scare them a little bit.
Yeah, and they'll be like, what is the significance of Auburn for this? You just have to know Clint. So
Yep.
anyway, yes, thank you to everybody, and we'll be back next week for another Wednesday night live. But make sure you are subscribed with that notification bell, because you never want to go live again. New videos coming out, and again, we just recently passed 1,000 subscribers, so thank you all. I've said it 1,000 times here on some of the streams we've done, but I would just want to say thank you, because I know I catch a lot of different people. Thank y'all so much for helping us get there. But until we talk to you guys again, War Eagle.